right, welcome everybody. Good morning. Late night last night. Yeah. Welcome to Venture Atlanta Day 2. It is an absolute privilege for me to introduce you to this outstanding group of leaders. And you know, Venture Atlanta is about connecting companies and capital, and it's the top place in the Southeast for this to happen. But we thought, how do we help entrepreneurs even more? And in the past, we've had moments where Zach Nelson for NetSuite, for example, or Scott Ciccone at GitHub have gotten with our entrepreneurs one-on-one in small sessions, and they're really honest, open discussions about how do you do it? Like, what do you actually do? How do you navigate this river? Well, we formalized that this year. This is a new program we've got. They're called Executive Sessions, and we have an outstanding group of executives here that are going to meet in small groups with the top founders and CEOs from the conference, and just talk about various themes and challenges that they're facing and how to navigate. Let me have the panel introduce themselves. Marty, why don't you give a quick background?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. My name's Marty Osborn out of Greenville, South Carolina. This is kind of a moment for me is last week was the end of my third year for selling my company, so I made it through my retention. Got 100% of my money. So pretty excited, but yeah, just looking for what's next after selling a company. I've started something called Be Better Inc. I believe that each and every one of us every day just tries to be better, and so teaching and educating people on that is what I like to do. So
Marty came from the Atlanta suburb of Greenville, South Carolina. Marty is an expert at negotiations. Among many great things he did as a leader of his company, I will never be on the other side of the table with him. I'm determined. He is excellent. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Carilu came in from the West Coast, from the Bay Area. Carilu and I work together at Atlassian. She is considered one of the top marketing experts in the country for software. Carilu, give a quick background.
Well, thanks for having me. It's my first time at Venture Atlanta. As Alex said, I'm a former CMO, most notably the head of marketing that took Atlassian public. These days I advise hypergrowth CEOs and CMOs, all sorts of companies, including Sprout Social. Ryan and I have worked together. And my job is to help CEOs and marketers that are trying to see what the next stage of growth looks like, understand the patterns to make them successful. So it's exciting to be here with all of you and hear about so many promising businesses.
Thank you so much for making it. It's awesome to have you here. Tom came in from New York. Tom sold ServiceChannel for over $1 billion. I talked to David Politis. What he said, what's so great about you is you also had one that didn't work, right? The truth is you got all kinds of scar tissue that's really valuable now. Your session's going to be about the 10 mistakes or 10 reasons why people may not hit their number. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to help 10 companies over 40 years miss their revenue number from time to time. And it turned out, as you said, I had my last two CEO gigs. One was the worst exit of all time, where we literally handed the business back to the original founder for $1. Counted as an exit, but it was a $1 transaction. And the one that followed that was a $1.3 billion transaction. Same guy, different company. Kind of wondered what happened there, but it's kind of interesting. So we're going to talk today about the top 10 reasons why you're missing your revenue goals, hopefully focused on those types of things that you can kind of work on yourself and work on with your team. Not excuses, but actual tactics you can take within the organization to kind of self-correct yourself and fix some of those problems.
Awesome to have you here. Ryan flew in last night from LA. You're based out of Nashville. Ryan's on the board here with the Atlanta-based Full Story as well. Ryan is one of the top leaders in the country in helping build great products customers love. Tell us a little bit about your story, Ryan, and in your category.
Cool. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, and I'm grateful to be here, as Alex said, on the board for Full Story, a great Atlanta company. And earlier days, actually led sales for Pardot. So spent a lot of time here in Atlanta, and excited to spend time with all of you here today. Ryan Baretto, I'm the CEO of Sprout Social, and we're going to be talking about creating great products. And the good news about this is I actually get to give the feedback from the outside in, because I didn't build the product. So I'm the go-to-market leader, and I'm very fortunate to work with 4 product-led founders. So last year, coming into this year, we were named as the #1 company in software by G2, which is all customer feedback. So we're going to share a little bit about why that was.
Awesome. Round of applause to have these guys part of Venture Atlanta. Okay, so Marty has already had his executive session this morning. He got the short straw. He had to do the early morning one, and he was regretting it last night around midnight when I saw you at the bar. But how'd it go?
The session went great. One of the keys is I believe as CEOs, owners of companies, really the number one skill we all need, but we don't do it, is negotiation. I always say too many times we leave our deals to chance. And so in today's session, we walk through some of the keys. And I said there's 2 words that I can unsettle any professional person in a deal. Does anybody know what those 2 words are? 2 words, and I'll get you to cut your price in half. You're out. You think about it, you're across the table, you're selling a deal, you forecasted a deal, everybody's counting on it, and the person across the table says, you're out. What do you do? And most people are unprepared to handle it, and our first response is, cut our price. And I've seen it happen, and so to me, negotiation is just a series of tactics. We can't control the outcome, because most people don't like to negotiate because they're so worried about the outcome. What you can control is the process, and when you do, and you plan, you'll be successful. So that's what we talked about today.
Awesome. Carilu, when we were convening around the topic around marketing, I was kind of thinking, what are 5 things that make world-class marketing? Like, what are the 5 tips to create a great marketing company? And she had such good advice. She says, you know what? It's actually more powerful to say, what are the 5 mistakes people make? That's what's really going to be gripping. Share some of the mistakes. What are give us a little teaser of some that are most common that people make.
So marketing, we wish it were a magic wand. We've got a great product, we'll stick some money in and we'll quadruple it on the other side. But marketing is much more of a megaphone than it is a magic wand. And so when I first started advising CMOs, I thought I was going to make CMOs more successful by giving them the right playbooks. But it turned out so many of the marketing challenges are really company strategy problems. And it shows up in marketing because you're not getting enough leads. But it may be because the product just doesn't have product market fit yet. Or you're going after too many different audiences. That's a really big one, trying to do too much at once. Or it might be that the differentiation that you've articulated isn't really resonating with the target audience. So no one's really reacting. You put out a blog or a webinar and no one's really that interested because you haven't hit on it. So I think one of the biggest challenges for founders is that there's different disciplines of marketing, demand generation and product marketing and positioning. And as you grow, you need these different amounts. So, 3 of the things we'll talk about are that marketing isn't a magic wand. So having unrealistic expectations leads to poor performance and a lot of turnover. 2, that you need a marketing leader or marketing resources at different times who can both help you with the positioning and the product marketing as well as the numbers, because just running after the numbers won't get the results. And 3, a lot of founders that I advise, they actually have a pretty good sense for marketing, but they don't consider themselves marketers. But you're really the first founder-led salesperson. You're talking to the customers. So going with some of that intuition instead of saying, I hired someone and they're going to figure it out. A fantastic marketing person needs some great input from the founders and the CEOs. So those will be some of the mistakes that we'll talk about.
I can't wait to see it. That's going to be great. Tom, tell us a story.
I got lots of stories. One of the things we're going to talk about today is the things that are hiding in plain sight right under your nose that after you hear about them become like Captain Obvious moments about why you're missing your revenue goals. So just a quick show of hands. Who out there in your company has a product roadmap? Like everybody has a product roadmap, right? And you sit in these meetings and you obsess over the next feature, and my current customer asked for this, and somebody needs that, and this is so many engineering hours, and how much time does your organization spend on the product roadmap? Now, raise your hand if you have a 3-year revenue roadmap or growth roadmap. Fewer numbers. How much time do you spend arguing about when we're going to raise prices next, or when we're going to introduce a new revenue stream, or when that new module's coming out that you can charge for, some features that you can go back to your existing customers and charge for, or how you're going to get upsells with a different packaging of your product with a subset of the features and map that out for 3 years and have those same arguments. It's amazing to me how much time, especially in early stage, and no disrespect to the products obviously, are spent on getting the product perfect, but how much, less time is spent on pricing strategies, discounting strategies, et cetera, that lead to a growth roadmap. So we'll talk a little bit about that today.
Great. Thanks again for being here, Tom. Ryan, I want to compliment you first on your recent promotion. You're promoted to publicly traded Sprout Social as their new CEO. And when we talked to, yeah.
Thank you.
And when we talked about how do you build a world-class company, he went right to how do you build products customers love. It's the first thing he went after, and no one's been better at it than Sprout. Talk a little bit why your company's been so good at that, and what you're going to share with your session.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. So the number one thing I'll highlight here, and internally at Sprout, we call it, our team has coined it HONK, which is hands on the keyboard. And the whole concept behind this is leading with the product. And one of the things I loved about the company when I joined back in 2016, and I heard it directly from Justin, one of the co-founders, was when they were getting started building Sprout, it was really hard to raise money. And like many of you, as the CEO and the initial founders, you're doing a lot of selling. But he realized really quickly this would not scale. And so their concept from the very beginning was that the product was going to be the best salesperson. And so they created a PLG approach, a trial model. And I got to tell you, when I started in 2016, I did not think that was going to work when we went into the mid-market and the enterprise. And Justin and the team were adamant that this was core to the DNA and the fabric of building a great product, making sure it was intuitive, making sure that customers got value right away. And it really meant that there was a high bar that even when you added sophistication into the product, it just needed to work. And they were right. I was wrong on that. And even today, 90+% of our revenue actually touches the product before they ever become customers with us. And so that's one of the big things that I'll be talking about today. I also love it for a lot of the companies here that are just getting started. It's an amazing way to really disrupt legacy players in the space when you can lead with the product. It's disruptive both from a technology perspective and a buying perspective. And so that was one of the main things that differentiated the company and has helped us get to where we are today.
Awesome. And again, congratulations. Well deserved. Later at lunch today, we're going to do a deeper dive with Carilu and Ryan. And one reason for that is because you guys have both worked together, which is kind of interesting. Like you have a working relationship, so it's not just kind of, hey, nice to meet you, let's go on the stage. Carilu, I'm curious, share a little bit about what has made Ryan successful in terms of building great products, or what is it that impresses you about Ryan's leadership?
So Ryan and I have known each other for 2 or 3 years, and he was formerly at Salesforce as a sales leader. And I find that he has such a humility and deep knowledge. It's like you don't have to announce that you're the leader. People want to work for you. And two of the ways he does that are impressive is that he's not afraid of the detail. So he's willing to kind of dig in and roll up his sleeves and try to understand, but from a seek to understand, not a seek to criticize perspective. And I've worked with a number of different fascinating executives. I worked for Larry Ellison and wrote ads for the front page of the Wall Street Journal and the back page of The Economist, and he edited everyone. Not afraid to roll up his sleeves, not humble and welcoming. And at Atlassian, we had 2 CEOs, co-CEOs, that were incredibly bright and had never worked at any other company, and were very committed to first principles in their thinking, which was wonderful. But what I really love is how much you try to bring in ideas from different people, and the leadership team feels bought into the solutions because they feel like they were part of creating it. So I think that's been a really successful, and one of the reasons the transition will be so smooth for him to the CEO role.
That's a good segue to closing out the session. I think one thing that makes Venture Atlanta special is it's an opportunity for people to give back, for people to help the next generation, to help the next wave of founders and entrepreneurs become successful. everyone here has that spirit about that leadership, about giving, about contributing, about giving back. And we are just so fortunate as a community to have that spirit here, to have that as part of Venture Atlanta. And I'm just so grateful for your spirit to help the next generation here today. So thank you very much.